Do I have a concept in mind? Absolutely. Why disclose it to you? I will not. That narrative belongs to her alone. They aim to maintain her silence, yet her narrative has emerged. After close to 20 years with ESPN, Molly Qerim didn't merely step away. She's battling back, with dramatic legal actions and startling covert betrayals. This is the hidden tale ESPN wished to suppress. The abrupt farewell. The sports broadcasting community was taken aback when Molly Qerim, a familiar face and the enduring host of ESPN's premier debate program, First Take, declared her unexpected departure from the network. After a decade at the helm and 19 years within the ESPN realm, her announcement came as a swift shock via a single Instagram story. But what led to this decision? What prompted one of the most well-known personalities in sports media to walk away? Was this just a personal choice, or does it signal a broader transformation underway at ESPN and across the sports media landscape? To grasp the significance of this departure, it's essential to consider Molly Qerim's role in the realm of sports broadcasting. ESPN acknowledged her influence in their formal announcement. Burke Magnus, the president of content at ESPN, pointed out that since 2006, Molly has been a vital component of the network and a major contributor to the achievements of First Take since she became a host 10 years back. Magnus went further, underscoring the traits that distinguished her in a frequently contentious TV landscape. Her lackluster skills and professionalism paradoxically enhanced the broadcast, as she cheerfully uplifted her peers as a supportive teammate. We honor Molly's choice, extend our best wishes for her future endeavors, and express gratitude for her remarkable dedication to sports enthusiasts and ESPN. When a network executive describes someone with terms like grace, ability, support, and exceptional daily dedication, it transcends mere corporate speak. It reflects recognition of an individual who, over time, became the steady foundation of a program known for its intense discussions and larger-than-life personalities. From the outset, Molly was never just a facilitator delivering questions. She was far more than just a temporary stand-in. She evolved into a dependable presence, adept at knowing when to assert herself, when to allow room, and when to intervene and guide the dialogue. As her longtime coworker Stephen A. Smith remarked during his own live response, she resigned suddenly from her role as the show's host last night. To express my deep sorrow would be an understatement. Those words spoken on live television conveyed a blend of disbelief and heartache. Molly's abrupt departure heightened the intrigue. There was no farewell episode, no on-screen parting for the millions who watched us each morning, and no gradual farewell. Instead, supporters discovered her exit nearly instantly. The evening prior via her personal Instagram story, she expressed that, after considerable contemplation, she has chosen to wrap up this remarkable chapter and leave First Take. By the dawn of the next day, when fans tuned into ESPN anticipating her presence at the desk, she was already absent. Stephen A. Smith later confessed on his Sirius XM broadcast that he was blindsided by the news. To be frank, his arrival was unexpected. I had no inkling that she was considering this. Yet ultimately, she chose her path, and we must continue with the program. Such suddenness is uncommon in the television industry. Typically, contracts govern well-planned departures, often taking weeks or months to arrange. However, in this case, it appeared that discussions had hit an impasse. Smith clarified that a negotiation over a contract was in progress. ESPN was keen on keeping her, yet ultimately, she chose to leave the show right away. This swift departure, opting out of a contract proposal instead of seeing it through, sparked initial conjecture about possible happenings out of sight. On the surface, the narrative appears straightforward. ESPN extended a contract offer to Molly Qerim. She turned it down. She stepped away. However, the realm of sports media seldom follows straightforward paths. It's a landscape molded by influence, advantage, and timing. In an engaging podcast debate about her exit, analysts theorized that ESPN's proposal might have been crafted to corner her decision. They create discomfort for you, knowing you're likely to walk away. This is usually their approach at your current career point. A panelist stated clearly that this is part of a larger trend at ESPN. In recent years, the network has experienced multiple rounds of layoffs and reorganizations. Not even the well-known personalities on air have escaped this trend. There's a theory that ESPN's leadership may have chosen to make a transition to younger female broadcasters. This change is evident in the emergence of talents like Malika Andrews and Taylor Rooks. A particularly telling element of this discussion arose when analysts highlighted the underlying gender dynamics, as one observer noted. It tends to be gender-biased. Typically, older men can maintain their roles within a profession, yet there seems to be a preference for youth. However, your expertise in sports is crucial. You might find someone attractive to fill my role, but they might struggle to engage in conversations about the game with the guys. To put another way, while men in sports broadcasting can thrive well into their 50s, 60s, and beyond, women often confront an unspoken deadline. Molly's departure has sparked renewed discussions on this disparity. For the past 10 years, Stephen A. Smith has undeniably been synonymous with ESPN, and he openly expressed his sorrow. During First Take, his tribute was deep, genuine, and respectful. He highlighted Molly's contributions as a host, along with the significance of their friendship and her character. On his more serious examination show, Smith provided viewers with an intimate glimpse into the situation, choosing not to reveal every detail, underscoring that it was ultimately Molly's narrative to share. He shared his perspective on the significance he placed on her input. He then shifted to a wider lesson from the industry, drawing from his personal journey. Our worth isn't determined by us unless we hold the power to shape it. In business, leverage is key. In this instance, Smith wasn't solely reflecting on his own reality. He was subtly hinting at Molly's predicament. Even though she was cherished, admired, and esteemed, when it boils down to negotiations, it's all about leverage. So how should we interpret this initial chapter in Molly's exit saga? While it seems straightforward, a well-regarded host choosing to depart. If you probe further, a more intricate narrative emerges, revealing a web of history marked by talent realignment. There's the chance that a contract proposal was intended to nudge Molly out rather than retain her. The disparate standards for longevity among male and female broadcasters and networks reveal a troubling bias. Meanwhile, the sports media landscape is shifting, expecting even its leading talents to branch out into podcasts, side projects, and solo endeavors as job stability wanes. Molly's departure signifies more than her personal situation. It highlights ESPN's trajectory, the transformation of sports media, and the mounting challenges that even veteran personalities contend with in this unpredictable field. This marks merely the initial stages of a larger trend. Next, we'll explore the aftermath of her exit. We'll look at fan responses, what sources are hinting regarding her future plans, and how this shift reflects the growing pattern of ESPN personalities seeking avenues in new media. Repercussions, responses, and industry chatter. When the announcement of Molly Qerim's departure broke, the response was immediate and intense. Supporters, peers, and media analysts were taken aback, not solely due to the abrupt nature of her departure, but also because Molly had turned into such a familiar fixture on ESPN mornings. She wasn't just a host you skimmed by, she was integral to the routine. Mornings were marked by coffee, sports recap, and Molly preparing the stage for Stephen A. Smith's newest bold opinion. This had been a flow of First Take for more than 10 years. Thus, when she vanished without warning, fans sought clarity. That desire, the longing for the genuine account, behind the formal announcements, fueled a lot of the initial discussions. Although ESPN framed Molly's departure as a personal choice, skepticism remained. The official story appeared straightforward. She opted out of her contract, chose to depart, and the network expressed good wishes. However, those in the know realized that departures in sports media frequently involve deeper complexities. Longtime industry experts indicated this might exemplify a classic push-out scenario, with one analyst candidly noting that while this trend isn't exclusive to ESPN, the network has certainly earned a reputation for its high-profile departures. Over the past 10 years, well-known figures such as Jamil Hill, Michelle Beadle, Kenny Mayne, and others have exited suddenly, occasionally amid public scrutiny or through discrete contract disputes. However, Molly's exit resonated differently. Unlike several previous departures, hers came without the usual whispers of conflict or discontent. She appeared, at least on the surface, to be flourishing. The timing of her departure coincided with ESPN increasingly showcasing younger female talent, especially Malika Andrews, who has emerged as a leading figure for the network in recent times. This led to troubling yet inescapable questions about whether Molly was pushed out not due to her skills, but because of a larger trend in the industry aimed at refreshing on-air talent to attract younger viewers. This discrepancy is glaring. Men, such as Chris Berman, Bob Lee, and even Stephen A. Smith have enjoyed years of visibility without their age being seen as a hindrance. In contrast, women often face an unspoken timeline, one that seems to accelerate regardless of their experience, expertise, or ability. Molly's exit echoed deeper than just her personal journey. For countless observers, it represented the broader challenges confronting female hosts. Eventually, their contributions are deemed supplementary, irrespective of their crucial roles in a show's achievements. Even the audience recognized this disparity, observing that despite Molly's grace and expertise distinguishing her, her position was often reduced to merely ensuring smooth operations while the male counterparts attracted most of the attention. Nevertheless, as her peers consistently highlighted, Molly shattered that stereotype. She was more than a mere moderator. She engaged, challenged, and exuded authority when conversations threatened to derail. By doing this, she established herself as irreplaceable, making her departure particularly impactful. For ESPN, adjusting its lineup is a familiar tactic, yet it carries inherent risks. Analysts noted that in the realm of television, particularly in sports broadcasting, the personas of commentators can influence ratings almost as significantly as the programming itself. The dynamic between hosts often retains the audience's attention, and Molly had emerged as an essential part of the First Take dynamic, contributing her voice to the roundtable dialogue of Verb. She was among the rare individuals who truly made an impact on these programs, which often devolve into bickering, with women merely facilitating the flow of conversation. she managed to contribute meaningfully. This role isn't something that can just be filled by her departure or by arranging situations to force her exit. ESPN jeopardized the unique dynamics that had sustained First Take through numerous transformations, including Skip Bayless's notable departure in 2016. Aside from the rumors surrounding her departure, another urgent inquiry soon arose. What are Molly's next steps? Various fans and analysts have hypothesized that she could potentially head over to a competing network such as Fox Sports 1, where her ex-colleague Skip Bayless is currently at the helm of Undisputed. Meanwhile, some have proposed that she could capitalize on the rising popularity of podcasts, using her own brand to create an independent venture. Nonetheless, as noted by one observer, making such a shift isn't necessarily straightforward. It's not always easy for someone to simply pivot and dive into podcasting or similar pursuits, as it may not align with their skill set. Desperation or unique situations may drive one to make certain decisions. Yet simply switching networks isn't a straightforward option for everyone. To put it differently, Molly's following steps could be more complex than merely stepping into another television facility. For an individual used to the stability and salary of a corporate media position, transitioning to independent content creation demands a distinct level of risk. Molly's departure aligns with a broader trend. Throughout the last 10 years, ESPN has consistently lost well-known personalities, occasionally by their own volition and other times due to circumstances beyond their control. The roster is extensive. Dan Lou Battard, Rachel Nichols, Michelle Beadle, Jamal Hill, Kenny Mayne, Max Kellerman, among others. Each exit has generated buzz, leaving fans questioning if ESPN's losing its spark by allowing so many recognizable faces to leave. Stephen A. Smith recently pondered on this shift, remarking how the landscape has evolved significantly. During his Sirius XM program, he expressed it this way: "We often overlook that we all ultimately respond to the rhythm. Our value isn't ours to dictate. We cannot establish our own worth. We can't simply assert, this is my identity and this is my path. And you know what? I couldn't care less about anyone's opinion unless they hold the power to enforce it." Business fundamentally revolves around leverage. He emphasized that even the most prominent figures in sports media face constraints. You could be adored by fans or crucial to a program's essence. But in the end, choices rest on leverage, which lies with networks, executives, and the evolving dynamics of the market. Molly's exit signifies more than her individual choice. It highlights the unpredictable nature of sports media at large. As the news began to sink in, fan responses diverged into two distinct groups. Some embraced the official explanation, viewing Molly's departure as a standard progression in her career. These fans conveyed support, appreciation, and enthusiasm for her future endeavors. Conversely, some remained doubtful. They perceived her departure as a prime example of how mainstream media discards even its most esteemed figures when profit is at stake. Across social networks, the two viewpoints unfolded. One faction promoted hashtags such as #ThankYouMolly. Meanwhile, the other questioned, often quite directly, what actions led ESPN to lose her. This split illustrates the uncertainty surrounding her departure. In the absence of a comprehensive statement from Molly, coupled with the strict NDAs frequently employed by ESPN, fans must interpret the underlying messages. Once the chaos started to calm, one fact emerged unmistakably. Molly's departure was not merely a minor detail in ESPN's narrative. It served as a catalyst. It ignited discussions on gender equity in sports media. It reignited arguments regarding ESPN's approach and whether the network undermines its brand through constant changes, raising legitimate concerns about the job security of even its most cherished hosts. As one analyst pointed out with a blend of skepticism and insight, a revealing expose may never surface, but the ongoing speculation keeps this narrative vibrant long after Molly's last appearance on First Take. Next, we'll broaden our perspective. We'll examine ESPN's reorganization, explore how Molly's departure aligns with the broader strategy of the network, consider her potential career trajectories, and analyze what her exit signifies for the future of First Take and the landscape of sports media as a whole. The larger landscape and Molly's prospects. To understand the significance of Molly Qerim's exit, it's essential to place it within the wider narrative of ESPN's evolution. For the last 10 years, ESPN has experienced significant changes, yet continues to stand as the most well-known brand in sports broadcasting. However, its supremacy faces increasing threats from changing consumer behaviors, emerging platforms, and the growth of independent content creators. The trend of cord cutting has sharply decreased cable subscriptions, undermining ESPN's established revenue structure. Concurrently, streaming giants such as Amazon and Apple have been fervently chasing live sports rights, which are integral to ESPN's success. Although ESPN Plus has shown progress, it hasn't recaptured the vital cultural significance ESPN enjoyed back when SportsCenter was a must-watch. These developments have compelled the network to tighten its budget, restructure, and reconsider its lineup of on-air talent. This explains the ongoing layoff waves, unexpected contract choices, and a steady influx of newcomers taking the place of well-known figures. Molly's departure fits this trend. It wasn't merely a personal career shift. Her departure marked just another chapter in the ongoing saga of high-profile exits from ESPN, leaving fans reeling. For First Take, Molly's sudden exit posed an immediate hurdle. The show has traditionally thrived on its dynamic personalities, originally with Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith, later featuring Max Kellerman, and most recently, Molly, who skillfully moderated discussions to prevent chaos. Her talent for managing fiery debates gracefully was crucial in keeping First Take as ESPN's premier sports debate show, even as its format has been widely replicated throughout the industry. The most captivating aspect of this narrative may not be the reasons behind Molly's exit, but rather the next chapter. In contrast to her predecessors, Molly exits ESPN armed with both considerable experience and notable visibility. She is not slipping away unnoticed. Instead, she departs while her profile remains elevated and the media environment presents unprecedented opportunities. One potential avenue could lead her to a rival network, such as Fox Sports 1, where a former First Take associate, Skip Bayless, continues to work. FS1 has been openly ambitious about challenging ESPN's supremacy, and Molly's brand recognition could serve as a significant advantage. Another avenue is the realm of streaming and independent media. Commentators have observed that modern sport personalities aren't solely tied to traditional television channels. They can shift to podcasts, YouTube series, Twitch broadcasts, or partner with digital giants like Amazon or Netflix. However, despite the abundance of prospects, the switch can be quite challenging. Molly's task will be to translate her established reputation into a platform that enables her to stay prominent without the support of the ESPN powerhouse. Nevertheless, hope continues to thrive. Her expertise, background, and dedicated following provide a solid base. Viewing Molly's departure as a standalone incident would be an error. It aligns with a common pattern at ESPN, where familiar faces are phased out, occasionally for budgetary reasons, at times to introduce fresher perspectives, and often to refresh the network's identity. This pattern is evident with Michelle Beadle, who left after a decade in spite of her widespread appeal. An example can be found in Jamil Hill's departure following disagreements with the executives regarding her political views. Kenny Mayne, a veteran Sports Center host, parted ways in 2021 due to a contract stalemate. What sets Molly's situation apart is its lack of controversy or visible discord. It was an immaculate split, bordering on suspiciously so, leaving fans with much to ponder. Was ESPN genuinely interested in retaining her? Or was the contract crafted to ensure her exit was unavoidable? Stephen A. Smith's thoughts on leverage imply the latter scenario. According to him, ESPN functions in an environment heavily influenced by leverage. If the network felt it had access to younger, less expensive, or more strategically advantageous alternatives, Molly's leverage might have been constrained. As Molly embarks on the next chapter of her professional journey, one fact is undeniable. The sports media landscape will be paying close attention. Whether she aligns with a different network, starts her own enterprise, or retreats from the limelight, her narrative underscores the unpredictable and deeply personal nature of the industry. Each contract discussion and televised segment involves individuals grappling with aspirations, self-discovery, and the unending cycle of a multi-billion-dollar realm. Molly Qerim's surprising and controversial departure from ESPN was not solely about a single host. It revolved around dominance. It centered on sex. It pertained to the evolution of media overall. The effects are ongoing. When discussing Molly Qerim's departure from ESPN, it's easy to view it as an isolated incident. In reality, ESPN has experienced its fair share of dramatic departures. Consider the influential figures who defined the channel through the years, only to exit amid intricate circumstances. Dan Patrick, a legendary SportsCenter anchor from the 90s, walked away from ESPN in 2007 due to contract conflicts, subsequently enjoying success with his own radio show and a strong YouTube channel. Michelle Beadle, once a key figure in ESPN's NBA coverage, exited after reported tensions concerning her role. Her departure presented as mutual yet sudden. Jamil Hill, an emerging talent who played a pivotal role in shows like His and Hers and SC6, left ESPN after facing political backlash and clashing with network management. Kenny Mayne, cherished for his humor and distinct presentation, parted ways with the network in 2021 after being asked to accept a significant salary reduction. Rachel Nichols, previously a prominent figure in NBA reporting, also departed following the emergence of recorded conversations that prompted considerable criticism, leading to ESPN's decision to sever ties. Their exits ignited discussions. While some left on their own accord, others were compelled to go, with a few quickly transitioning to new roles and others drifting into obscurity. Now, Molly becomes part of this legacy. However, in contrast to most, she wasn't departing in the midst of typical controversies or dramatic scandals. Her scandal revolved around her silence. The abruptness of her departure, coupled with ambiguous corporate communications, left many wondering about the reasons behind her swift exit. Molly's resignation is paradoxical. The more silence there is, the more speculation grows. Even Stephen A. Smith pointed this out regarding her departure. indicating that his mere comments sparked weeks of intrigue. Fans quickly started to question, what insights does Stephen A. possess that remain undisclosed? Did tensions brew out of sight? Was it merely a contractual matter, or an issue of greater significance? The reality might remain shrouded in mystery, possibly intentionally. ESPN's practice of utilizing non-disclosure agreements is well documented, and many insiders indicate that the organization maintains strict control over how exits are publicly depicted. In this scenario, secrecy itself weaves into the narrative. The enigma drives the story forward, even if the true motives stay hidden. In contrast to several former ESPN employees, Molly exits with a unique asset: goodwill. She maintained her relationships. She avoided public disputes with the higher-ups. She departed without drama or scandal, nor was there any audio leaks or online disputes. Rather, though she worked alongside, her superiors and her supporters lauded her dedication and compassion. Burke Magnus' formal remark labeling her a key member of ESPN was more than just public relations. It was a true testament to the respect she earned in Bristol. Stephen A. Smith's sincere tribute reinforced this sentiment. For someone as candid and divisive as Smith, his affection for Molly was clear. He didn't merely recognize her as a colleague. He cherished her as a companion. This goodwill provides Molly with an advantage as she strategizes her next steps. She's departing without negativity. She leaves with her professional reputation intact, allowing opportunities to present themselves more readily, whether with a competing network, a streaming service, or independent media. For ESPN, though, Molly's departure poses a risk. In allowing a prominent figure to depart, the network places its established audience in jeopardy of feeling disconnected. While ESPN has navigated transitions previously, the continuity of the brand comes with the threat of diminishing viewer allegiance. Take, for example, Skip Bayless's exit in 2016. Although the network lost a pivotal voice, Stephen A. Smith and Molly were able to sustain and even enhance First Take with fresh guest appearances. Reflect on Jameel Hill's exit. While ESPN parted ways with a fearless commentator, it redirected its attention towards less contentious figures. Ultimately, the network endured both transitions. Yet, how many of these changes can ESPN endure before audiences perceive it as bereft of its core identity? As a roundtable participant highlighted, Molly's departure extends beyond just her situation. This illustrates yet another network undergoing change, occasionally with triumph, often with significant sacrifice. If you take a broader view, Molly Qerim's narrative evolves into much more than a single host departing from a network. It transforms into a powerful emblem. She embodies the myriad of women in sports media who have battled for recognition, respect, and endurance within a male-centric field. She embodies the struggle between traditional leadership and the relentless upheaval of corporate realignments. She illustrates the difficulty of negotiating loyalty to one's profession while pursuing personal goals. Her exit is at once typical, merely another entry in the ongoing roster of ESPN departures, and remarkable, as it encapsulates many of the conflicts influencing contemporary sports media. So what does this mean for us? Molly Qerim's surprising and controversial departure from ESPN had nothing to do with on-set theatrics. This wasn't merely a dispute turned chaotic. It wasn't solely tied to a flawed agreement. It revolved around authority, viewpoints, and transformation. Her departure unveiled the fragile reality of positions in the media that appear secure. It laid bare the gender issues that influence who remains and who departs, highlighting that silence can wield as much influence and controversy as speech. Her fans will notice her missing presence each morning as First Take starts without her insights driving the dialogue. For ESPN, her exit serves as a lesson that every staffing choice carries its own uncertainties. Each realignment comes with its own stakes. For Molly, this marks the beginning of a fresh chapter, an opportunity for her to shape her career as she wishes, whether she decides to join a competing network, create her own platform, or embrace a more subdued route. Her impact at ESPN is indelible. She transcended the role of a mere moderator. She embodied strength, an influential figure, a professional who brought stability to one of TV's most contentious programs. Ultimately, this may stand as her finest achievement. Now, the next chapter is up to her. If you like this video, be sure to explore our other fantastic videos on the channel. We appreciate your viewing, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.